What's up everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be changing out brake fluid on this ML320. There is no need for special tools. We're going to do it with minimal tools. All we need is a bottle and a clear tube, and this is a rubber tube. Okay, torque wrench and a jack. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is some .4 brake fluid. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go around and loosen these bolts all the way around, and then I'll jack up the rear end of the car and then we'll get going. Okay. Alright, so first of all, locate your BrakeMaster cylinder and reservoir. This is a right hand drive car, so it's on the right hand drive, just in front of the driver's seat. Okay, and you start off with the furthest wheel away from the BrakeMaster cylinder, which is the left rear one, this one here. So you take the wheel off and locate the brake bleed nipple, which is this here. All you do is get a 10mm wrench. You'll find actually a rubber cover on it. You take the rubber cover off, okay, and then you place your rubber hose on the nipple like so. Okay, get it nice and snug, and that goes all the way down to the bottle. You want it to go right down to the bottom of the bottle, so the hose needs to be at the bottom of the bottle. I'll tell you why in a minute. Okay, and then you break loose the nipple, the bleeder or brake bleeder nipple. So this is going to be clockwise because it's the other way around. So you break it just enough to be loose, okay, and you don't want to open it too much. See, it's just broken now, loose. And then you jump into the car. You don't need a second person, you don't need a vacuum assisted pump or a push pump or anything like that. All you need is yourself. You get in the car and you pump the brakes. The brakes should feel soft now, and they should want to go right down to the floor. So you pump them about 10 to 20 times. Okay, once you're done doing that, then you go back to the bottle and check to see how much fluid you've gotten out. And yeah, and then just top up the reservoir inside the engine bay before it gets too low, and I'll show you what happens next. Okay. $17, $18, $19, $20. Okay, now let's go check the bottle. See, we've got fluid down the bottom now. The lines look full. There's no air in the line at all. Okay, it's dirty fluid. And let's go and check on the reservoir. The reservoir would have gone down, of course. Give it a shake. There's the level, you can see it. Okay, so it's just above the minimal. We'll top it up to the maximum and then pump some more, get some more of that dirty fluid out, and so forth. Top it up to the max line, which is here, the max line, see? And yeah, and then pump until it gets low, and then you put fresh fluid in, and then you pump some more until you start to get clear and clean fluid from that from the bleeder. Okay. All right, so the left rear tire, or the left rear line, we got about that much fluid out of it. That's roughly about 400 ml, because the furthest wheel from the brake reservoir has the most volume in the line, so you want to actually almost use a whole bottle of 500 mils just to get that first line out. And now we move on to the second one, and yeah, same process. It's rinse and repeat. Here's the brake nipple, the bleeder. You remove the grommet, okay, and you place the 10 mil. There's the 10 mil. Place the 10 mil on it like that. And actually I want to put it down this more upright that way. And you get the rubber end like so. This one here. And you stick it on the end. Okay, like that. So it's on fully, and then you submerge the line into the bottle, so that way you don't get any air bubbles in the lines at all. Okay, so it's fully in. You break the line. There we go. So about half a turn or so should be enough. You know, you open it just enough to let the fluid out, but you don't want air going in. So if you turn and turn and turn it, air will start to go in when you press. So, and you'll see the air in the lines. That's why I'm using sort of a clear tube. It used to be clear, but now it's gone a bit hazy with time. Yeah, and yeah, it's a good idea to use a rag around the brake reservoir, so when you're pouring in fluid, you don't get it, you don't get any spillages, and the rag will actually catch most of it. All right, now let's start pumping the brakes again to get some more fluid out. Okay, here we go. See, it's going right to the floor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, now we'll go check our level. Level should have gone down, yep. And now we'll just top up our level right to the top. Well, not right to the up, to the max line. And yeah, repeat the procedure. All right, so we just finished doing the last side. We got that much fluid out. And the reservoir is all topped up to the max. As you can see when you shake, here's the max level right there. And when you shake it, it's right on the max level. So yeah, don't forget to put your nipple cover back on, the rubber cover, so that way no contamination gets through into the nipple, you know, and rusts out the bleeder itself. Okay. And don't forget also to put all your torque all your bolts back on to spec. I believe the ML320 is 110 Newton meters, somewhere around there. And yeah, so we started off with the furthest side from the reservoir, which is the rear left side, which we pumped the most fluid out because it's the furthest line from the reservoir, so it has the most fluid in it. You want to pump the majority of that out. It almost took about 3/4 of a bottle, and each bottle is 500 ml, so I used 2 of them. Okay, so the first bottle I used on the rear sides, starting with the left rear and then the right rear. Okay, so I dumped about 500 ml into the reservoir. In between filling up and pumping, I'd pump about 10 to 15 times and then check the reservoir level, top it up to the full, to the max, and then repeat, and then keep checking. Make sure your bottle doesn't overflow, so use something that's quite large enough to take 500 plus about a liter of fluid. This one's only 750 ml, so I had to empty it out and reuse it. After that, I moved to the front. I did the left side, pump about 10 to 15 times, check the reservoir, fill it up to the top, and then pump some more, and then I did this side finally. Okay, and this way you only need to turn the nipple about half a turn with a 10mm wrench. You don't need anybody inside the car or someone else. You don't need a pressurized manual pump to pressurize the reservoir. You don't need a vacuum one that sucks out the fluid from there. You can just do it with simple bottle and some clear plastic tubing. And with the clear plastic tubing, I attached this rubber hose, which I found, I think, from a vacuum cleaner, an old wet and dry vacuum cleaner, and that fits over the nipple perfectly. So that's all you need. And like I say, you turn the nipple half a turn, so that way you don't get air into the system. And you'll be able to see the air actually in the tube. If you have any air in the system, it'll start bubbling down the bottom when you press and when you're pumping the brakes, and you can also see it in the lines. You can see air bubbles. But if you crack it just enough, about half a turn to let the fluid drain out, then you won't have any air in the system. And before you go driving it, of course, you have to torque your wheels back on, put the nipple back on, torque the wheels back onto spec, and then just go for a short drive. In your driveway, just pump the brakes and make sure everything is good, because safety is first. And once you confirm the brakes are all nice and solid and working as they should, then you can drive the car. And don't forget also, I had these tire stops front and back. I had them in the back to begin with. In the front when I was doing the back side, and then I moved them to the back when I was doing the front side. All right, hopefully this was helpful to someone that needed to bleed their brakes, and they, without any fancy tools or any assistance from anyone else. And also Mercedes-Benz, the ML320 in the user manual, it actually says to change brake fluid once every 2 years. And older models like this, the user manual actually says to change it once a year, because brake fluid gets really hot by the brakes, and it actually cooks, and it starts to turn black, and it becomes abrasive. And if you don't change your brake fluid, not only it is a safety hazard, but it can also wear out the seals inside your brake master cylinder. That abrasive fluid, the old abrasive fluid, will end up damaging your brake master cylinder, and one day your feet will just go to the floor with the brakes, and the brakes won't really work as they should. And so just do it according to the manufacturer's specification, and that's usually once every 2 years. For older cars like this one, it's once a year. And also look up the right spec for your fluid. This car takes DOT4. Okay, so it doesn't matter what brand. Castrol is okay, it seemed to be all right. Also it's regardless of mileage, so I change it once every 2 years. because brake fluid is actually hydrophilic, which means it absorbs moisture from the atmosphere. And once it gets moisture content in it and becomes abrasive from all the heat cycles and heating up, it'll actually become fouled, and like I say, it'll start to destroy other parts like the brake master cylinder, and put your safety, compromise your safety as well. So yeah. Anyway, until next time, hopefully you got something out of this one, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, here we are on a little test drive to go get some groceries. Foot on the brake, we're going downhill, and the car's stopping beautifully, very nice. Yeah, that's the service verified that it's working and everything is going to plan. There's no trouble with the brakes. This is a serious service, so please be aware and do it safely. If you're unsure how to do it, or you're a bit hesitant, maybe you should get someone else to do it. But if you're confident and you're susceptible and you're very handy with mechanical work, you should definitely do that service yourself. And it is recommended to do once every 2 years for most car manufacturers. The older cars, like I say, it's once every 12 months. So yeah, I hope you learned something out of this. Please give it a thumbs up, like this video. You can comment, ask me any questions as well in the box below, in the comment box, and also subscribe please, so I can keep doing these videos and helping out people that are susceptible and are wanting to learn to work on their own cars at home. All right, thanks for watching. Until next time.